Hello and welcome. Nigeria Labour Congress holds its last National Executive Council meeting in 2021. Asks the President to assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, seeks reversal of power sector privatization scheme. President Buhari visits Turkey, agrees to collaborate with President Erdogan in dealing with terrorism and other security challenges in Nigeria. Canada lifts travel restriction imposed on Nigeria and 9 other African countries with effect from 11:59 p.m. on Saturday. And United Nations Human Rights Council orders international probe into Ethiopia war crimes. Authorities in Addis Ababa condemn the move, calling it politically motivated. Plus, we'll have international news from our London studio.
On business news tonight, Securities and Exchange Commission set to begin imposing regulatory fee on fixed income secondary market transactions from January the 1st, 2022.
On sports news tonight, Denmark international Christian Eriksen and Inter Milan Football Club of Italy mutually part ways.
And from the Federal Capital Territory, ahead of the Yuletide, petroleum regulatory authorities begin crackdown on petroleum marketers to check hoarding of products.
The Electoral Act Amendment Bill is touted to change the country's electoral system in major ways, but the coast is not yet clear for its implementation. And with the deadline for the President's assent to the bill approaching, the Nigeria Labour Congress is calling on President Buhari to sign it into law. The President of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, made the call at the union's National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja. The NLC also called for the immediate reversal of power sector privatization, insisting that its original purpose has been defeated.
Members of the Nigeria Labour Congress hold the last National Executive Council meeting for 2021 at the Labour House in Abuja. Although the meeting provides an opportunity for the NLC to appraise its activities in the last 1 year, the Labour leaders used the occasion to comment on some national issues, including the delay in signing the Electoral Act Amendment Bill into law.
The two chambers of the National Assembly have already amended the Electoral Amendment Act and is already within the domain of Mr. President to try to sign into law this very critical bill. NLC have, in the past 2 weeks, called on Mr. President to assent to this bill because it's the wish of Nigerians. This, we are sure, will progressively deliver on inclusive, transparent, and credible election.
The NLC also calls for the immediate reversal of the privatized electricity sector, just as it promised a nationwide protest to reject an increase in petroleum pump price next year.
We have said that the privatization of the power sector have failed, and clearly, before the privatization, a lot of promises have been made. That power is going to be affordable, is going to be stable, and there will be no challenge. But all of us are aware that 5 years down the line, nothing has improved. And we have demanded that the privatization of the power sector should actually be reversed because it has not actually provided any headway into addressing the challenge that was actually very evident before the privatization process.
The debates about whether or not to increase the pump price of petrol have often led to protests by Labour. And it does appear that these issues will again be bringing the unionists back on the streets in January next year.
And outside the shores of the country in Turkey, the President has pledged Nigeria's commitment to partnering with the country in dealing with the current security challenges facing the nation. President Muhammadu Buhari said this during a bilateral meeting with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Istanbul. In a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, the President Buhari said the relationship between the two nations will continue to grow for the mutual benefit of both countries, adding that he is pleased with the Turkish offer of support in the area of security and peace in Nigeria. President Buhari added, Turkey has practical experience dealing with challenges over the years, and Nigeria stands to gain from that. On his part, President Erdogan explained that Turkey understands the challenges facing Nigeria and its needs, and the country is ready to assist Nigeria in meeting those needs, especially in the area of defense. And before the meeting with his Turkish counterparts, the president had earlier been taken by surprise by members of the Nigerian delegation to Turkey when he left his suite, only to be met by a surprise lineup of Nigerian delegation with a cake molded in national colors, green and white, to mark his 79th birthday. In response to the gesture, the president said he would put in his best for Nigeria until the last day, when in 2023 he hands over to a successor and retires to his farms after the expiration of his tenure. In his words, "I look forward to the year 2023 when I finish to go home to take charge of my farm. Between now and that time, I'll do the best that is possible to advance the interest of the nation and its people and carry out my duties as prescribed by the Constitution." The Minister of Foreign Affairs, who spoke on behalf of the Nigerian and Turkish delegation, congratulated the president on the good work he's doing for the country, wished him many healthy years ahead and the energy to give his best to the nation. Back here in Nigeria, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State is asking the newly posted Commissioner of Police in the state, Umar Sanda, not to compromise on issues relating to security, but must discharge his assignment with professionalism and freedom from undue influence. Governor Mohammed mentioned this to the Commissioner of Police when he received him on a courtesy visit at the Government House, Bauchi State. He promised to be accessible and says he welcomes strengthened partnerships with the police that will lead to enhanced security in the state.
It is not that we are not also experiencing some insecurity situation. It is because you have been doing very well as a community, as a security agencies, to make sure with the government, work with the government to ensure that there is peace and security in the state. We pledge to work with you and to continue to give you all the support that you require. And we all need is a good understanding. We are very conversant with the working of the police. We are an impartial partner to everybody. The police is a friend to everybody. And we are also conscious of the fact that we are in the opposition. And so we are always looking forward to a police officer that will imbibe that culture of professionalism and impartiality, so that you are not here to support or give us any particular service that we require, but to make sure that you dispense your responsibility unperturbed, without undue influence from anywhere.
No fewer than 9 persons have been killed in separate attacks by bandits in 4 local government areas of Kaduna State, including Chikun, Igabi, Zaria and Zango Kataf. According to the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, 3 people were killed and 1 person sustained gunshot injuries when bandits barricaded a section of the Kaduna-Breningwari Road in Chikun local government. He also said that 1 man was killed by bandits at the Yola Khadi General Area, also of Chikun local government, while another resident was injured in the attack. Similarly, bandits killed 2 people in Sako village in Zango Kataf local government area, while 2 corpses were discovered by a security patrol team at the Kurfi Magamiya General Area of the local government. And 3 persons, including an inspector of police, were killed during a mob attack on a police station in Yagba West local government area of Kogi State. The Kogi Police Command, in a statement, said the mob attack followed robberies at 3 banks in the particular area, and the spokesman for the Kogi Police Command, William Aya, however, says the police launched a manhunt for the robbery suspects and arrested 2 of them. The 5th Micro, Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Shared Facility in Nigeria and the first in the South-South, the MSME Furniture Cluster, has been commissioned in Edo State. Now, speaking at the Furniture Production Center in Benin City, the Edo State capital, the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, said the shared facilities will reduce production costs for small businesses by providing them equipment, among other benefits that would have been beyond their financial capacity.
Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, cuts the tape to declare open the MSME furniture cluster in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Artisans and people of Edo State.
It's a facility built for large-scale production of quality furniture under the MSME shared facilities.
You may be seated.
For the Edo State government, the state is richly blessed with the natural resources for furniture production.
We are blessed with the main resources required for furniture, which is timber, which is available in our rainforests. And we have built decades-old reputation for producing top-quality furniture, which is already being shipped to other parts of Nigeria and around the world.
Professor Osinbajo is upbeat that the MSME shared facilities will be built in every state and is expected to provide economies of scale to support entrepreneurs.
So shared facilities provide MSME clusters with machinery that different businesses can use or rent for short periods. In addition to convenience and access to the latest equipment, this arrangement also spares them the financial burden of having to purchase vital equipment on their own. And I think that this is a very important aspect of the work of the MSME clusters, that most, in this case, carpenters and cabinet makers, will be unable to afford the type of machines that are here.
The next stop for the Vice President is the Edo Tech Park, which is graduating interns in information technology. Professor Osinbajo talks up the startup bill proposed by the federal government to help beginners in business.
So the whole point of the startup bill is to provide a legal framework, just to make it easier for startups to be able to blossom and do well. And as I've said, there's so many companies in Nigeria, so many startups that have done extremely well in the past few years.
Professor Yemi Osinbajo concludes his assignment in Edo State by laying the foundation for the permanent site of the Edo Tech Park, also in the state capital.
And in part two, after the break, Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos, grants bail to former Minister of Aviation, Mr. Femi Fani-Kayode, who is standing trial for alleged forgery. That's the moment. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. NLC holds its last National Executive Council meeting in 2021, asks the President to sign the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, seeks reversal of power sector privatization scheme. Nigeria and Turkey agreed to collaborate in dealing with terrorism and other security challenges in Nigeria as the President visits Istanbul. Canada lifts travel restriction imposed on Nigeria and 9 other African countries with effect from 11:59 p.m. on Saturday. And United Nations Human Rights Council orders international probe into Ethiopia war crimes as authorities in Ethiopia condemn the move, calling it politically motivated. Let's turn our attention to the judiciary. The Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja has granted bail to the former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, in the sum of 5 million naira. Justice Olubunmi Abike Fadikpe granted him bail following an oral application made by his counsel, Wale Balogun. Part of the bail condition is that the defendant must fill an undertaking to attend all his trial dates and to present a surety in like sum who is resident in the court's jurisdiction. He must also fill an undertaking that the defendant will attend all hearings. The court dismissed the objections of the defense counsel and held that it had jurisdiction to try the case. This paved way for Mr. Fani-Kayode to be arraigned on all 12 counts of alleged forgery of medical reports, to which he pleaded not guilty. The judge also noted that the arguments raised by the defense counsel that the charges fall outside the scope of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission prosecuting the matter shows that it is challenging the validity of the charge, which falls within the jurisdiction of the court. Let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Terry Ikumi. Terry?
Ijoma. As part of measures to avert fuel scarcity ahead of the Yuletide celebration, the Abuja Zonal Office of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has launched a monitoring operation in the nation's capital to ensure marketers do not hoard the product. The authority says Nigerians need not worry and engage in panic buying as there is enough supply of petrol for the period. Our correspondent Emperor Simon reports.
Fuel scarcity during the Yuletide season is a phenomenon, especially in the nation's capital. Long queues of vehicles are often sighted at petrol stations as many engage in panic buying during the period, mostly as a result of activities of some marketers. However, the Abuja Zonal Office of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, is taking proactive measures to forestall the ugly situation as its officials inspect petrol stations in the Federal Capital Territory to ensure they are not hoarding the product.
Our focus is to ensure that we don't have hoarding in the Abuja metropolis and that marketers are selling products at the approved pump price, and we want to ensure sufficiency of products. Any filling station that is hoarding will be penalized. So we'll make sure we take the necessary action according to the Petroleum Act.
This marketer says he currently has enough stock to meet the demands of customers, but he raises concern over the poor condition of roads in some parts of the country, which he says slows down transportation of the product from depot to his station, thereby creating scarcity sometimes.
Sometimes when we call our drivers, they are complaining us the road is no good. That's what he told me sometimes.
Some motorists also have some pieces of advice for the government.
We have to talk about refineries. If we cannot build new refineries, then we have to go in for Muduna refineries so that there will be enough fuel for the people.
Government should cut some kind of time, make more time. Let them repair refineries and remove subsidy.
Hopefully, this operation by the NMDPRA would be sustained and also replicated across the country to ensure a hitch-free Yuletide celebration. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
The waiting game may now be over for Nigerians with plans to travel to Canada, as the country has lifted the travel restriction imposed on Nigeria and 9 other African countries. Canada's Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos told journalists today that the lifting takes effect from midnight on Saturday. He said the restriction was announced last month to slow the arrival of Omicron into Canada, but added that with Omicron now spreading within Canada, the restriction is no longer required. Other African nations affected are South Africa, Mozambique, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Eswatini, Namibia, Malawi, and Egypt. The country, however, imposed testing and warning that the Omicron variant of COVID-19 risks quickly overwhelming hospitals. He says that pre-arrival negative PCR tests for all travelers would also be reinstated on December the 21st. As of today, about 350 cases of the Omicron variant have been confirmed across Canada. Meanwhile, the fight against coronavirus in Nigeria has received a boost as 3.3 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines purchased by the MasterCard Foundation and the Africa CDC and allocated to Nigeria through the Saving Lives and Livelihoods Initiative have arrived in Nigeria. UNICEF Nigeria received the vaccines at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on November the 29th and will be responsible for their distribution to the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency for cold storage and vaccination centers. The Saving Lives and Livelihoods is focused on the purchase and delivery of over 65 million vaccines for Africa. It is a $1.5 billion initiative aimed at bringing vaccination to millions of people, developing a workforce for vaccine manufacturing, and strengthening the Africa CDC's capacity to oversee a historic vaccination campaign and effectively respond to future outbreaks. According to the President and CEO of the MasterCard Foundation, Rita Roy, working with the Africa CDC and multiple organizations, the MasterCard Foundation will support the rollout of vaccines to millions across the continent. On his part, the director of the Africa CDC, Dr. John Nkegasong, notes that in September, the first tranche of AVAT-purchased vaccines began rolling out to 39 countries, while more vaccines are now being purchased through the Saving Lives and Livelihoods initiative. He says Africa CDC is picking up momentum in the continental vaccination efforts. Away from COVID-19 now, tech startups in the country may have to step up their game to maximize opportunities being made available for them. Part of that is coming from the United States mission in Nigeria, which is promising to continue supporting the burgeoning tech scene to ensure competitiveness among the technological startups. Speaking at the third edition of the Nigeria Tech Summit in Abuja, the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Beth Leonard, noted that technological startups in Nigeria have raised up to $1.7 billion since the beginning of 2021, which accounts for 60% of the money raised by Africa-based startups.
I'm so proud of the many U.S. contributions to this necessary transfer of skills and mentoring here in Nigeria. For example, in December, I began by traveling to Ife to meet with graduates of the Academy of Women's Entrepreneurs. This program combines mentoring and networking opportunities with a curriculum developed by one of the top U.S. business schools, Arizona State University's Thunderbird School of Global Management. We've seen over 550 women entrepreneurs graduate from this program since its inception in 2019. These women continue to engage each other and share business successes in a wide range of ventures, from book creation to food products, consultancy to artisanal production, and we look forward to mentoring future cohorts. I also want you to know that our commitment and support to such key populations within Nigeria was not hindered by the pandemic. We continue to recruit and promote Mandela Washington Fellows. We were thrilled this October when Vice President Osinbajo took time to engage our most recent cohort of Nigeria Fellows, encouraging Nigerian youth to get involved in political processes and affect change in their communities. These digital skills have real-world impacts for entrepreneurs and small businesses across sectors.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Securities and Exchange Commission set to begin imposing regulatory fees on fixed income secondary markets transactions from January the 1st, 2022. That's on Business News. Join us again.
Welcome back to the news at 10. To some company news now. Access Bank has held its court-ordered meeting to consider and approve the scheme of arrangement in pursuant to Section 715 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The shareholders voted for the special resolutions at the meeting, and this means the bank will proceed to obtain approvals from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Securities and Exchange Commission for a final holding company license.
This meeting by Access Bank PLC, ordered by the Lagos Division of the Federal High Court, is a key step towards the bank's journey to a holding company. In the interest of public safety and due regard to the Nigeria Center and Disease Control on COVID-19 guidelines for safe mass gatherings, only persons indicated to be a selected proxies attended the meeting. The chairman of Access Bank PLC opens the meeting, giving background as provided in the scheme document. The company secretary reads the resolution, a precursor to voting.
In accordance with the scheme of arrangement that 35 545,225,662 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each in the issued and paid up capital of the bank held by the shareholders be and are hereby transferred to Access Holdings PLC.
I'm particularly excited with the benefit of the risk management. I'm also happy that we are going to diversify into permissible business, which will increase our profitability.
This scheme will put the bank, the whole scheme will put us in a better state, especially the ring fencing of each business.
3 seconds, 2.
The numbers are in. 100% of the shareholders voted for, no vote against, and no one abstained.
There's nothing we are doing now that was not shared with the market 4 years ago, because this is the 2022 will be the final year of the 5-year corporate strategic plan. But I think what you would find in this court-ordered meeting was the fact that we are trying to create a group structure, a holding company structure that will cater for this growth that we're having. To support us from a risk management standpoint, to support our future endeavors as far as growth is concerned, to diversify our earnings, all of those things. So, if you like, governance is being better entrenched to support the larger enterprise that we run.
First, the step to HoldCo is to actually get things done better, comply to regulations, and ensure that we improve also on the shareholders' fund. Because anything you better manage, you expect greater expectations. So under the HoldCo, you'll be able to manage things that are currently non-banking matters under the HoldCo.
As the bank continues to grow and expand, introduction of the holding company is expected to introduce another layer of board. The leadership of the bank says it is ready for the next level and will do this following best practice with stringent corporate governance.
For more business news, here's Teniola Shobowale.
Thanks a lot, Ijeoma. Welcome to Business News. The Securities and Exchange Commission will commence regulatory fee on fixed income market transactions from January the 1st, 2022. The Commission made this statement, known in a statement, adding that the new levy is in line with the Investments in Securities Act of 2007. According to the statement, SEC will charge 0.025% of the total value of all secondary market transactions on bonds, while bond transactions by dealing members will attract a single regulatory fee of 0.0001%. Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has presented the 2022 budget totaling 381 billion naira to the Imo State House of Assembly. During the presentation in Owerri, the Imo State capital, the governor said the budget is aimed at building on the achievement of the outgoing year, hence it's tagged Budget of Wealth Consolidation.
Growth of commercial activities, especially those driven through private sector initiatives. We have also commenced the implementation of industrial policies targeted towards the development of a strong and viable industrial base for the revival of our state economy. There was a drastic reduction in the adulteration of palm produce, such as palm oil and palm kernel oil, due to the increased surveillance of the Special Task Force set up to monitor illegal operators in the system. We have been able to register over 200 cooperative societies and organize rural farmers and artisans, workers in private sector into micro businesses for sustainable capital formation and increased productivity. Summary of the 2022 budget, therefore. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, after a careful assessment of the present economic situation in the country and the prevailing macroeconomic indices, I hereby present to you a total proposed 2022 budget estimate of 381,462,947,677 naira. The budget is appropriately captioned Budget of Wealth Consolidation and Recovery, the People's Budget.
The central bank has approved the appointment of economist Ahmad Abdullahi as non-executive director of First Bank Holding PLC and chairman of the company to replace Mr. Remi Babalola. In a statement released today, the CBN says it had been duly notified of Mr. Babalola's resignation against the backdrop of contest by some significant shareholders for control of First Bank Holdings. Mr. Babalola, who was Nigeria's Minister of State for Finance from July the 26, 2007 to September 16, 2010, was appointed chairman of FBN Holdings PLC in April this year by the Central Bank of Nigeria following the abrupt exit of his predecessor, Oba Otudeko. Well, it's another back-and-forth movement for the local equities market, but this time it turns in favor for the bull. Laddie Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, remember yesterday I said, hopefully, the bull gives us a show today. Oh, yes, the bull did give us a show today and took the all-share index up 0.20%. The market surpassed the losses of the last session as it gained 50 billion naira, bringing the all-share index back to the 42,300 level. This rebound in the equities market cannot be far away from interest of investors in major influencers in the industrial sector like Dangote Cement, which added 3 naira to its share price and raised the industrial counter, which was up 0.62%. The banking and oil and gas counter were the only laggards of the day. The activity chart was quite sour, just volume in the green with about 341 million units of stocks traded, valued at 3.53 billion naira. International Breweries was the most traded by volume, with 83.67 million shares traded, valued at 409 million naira. Well, not a bad week, 3 green trading sessions against 2 reds. Just maybe we get that Santa Claus rally soon. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Laddie Williams. It's back to you.
And that's Business News Tonight. It's back to Ijeoma for the rest of the news at 10.
Thanks a lot, Teniola. Next on the news at 10, United Nations Human Rights Council orders international probe into the Ethiopia war crimes. Authorities in Addis Ababa condemn the move, calling it politically motivated. And more international news from our London studio. Do join us again. Welcome back. The United Nations Human Rights Council has ordered an international investigation into abuses carried out during the conflict in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has dismissed the move as politically motivated. For more international news, here's Simon Pusey with Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Australians are mourning what's being described as a national tragedy after 5 children were killed in a bouncy castle accident. Tributes and flowers have been piling up at the Tasmanian school where the incident happened. The children fell from about 32 feet after wind blew the castle into the air. Prime Minister Scott Morrison described it as heartbreaking.
Again, I just want to extend, on behalf of the government and Jenny and I, our deepest sympathies to all the families and all the community in Devonport for this horrific tragedy that has occurred with the loss of 5 young, precious lives.
A fire which is feared to have killed at least 27 people in a building in downtown Osaka in Japan is feared to be arson. Police are investigating whether the blaze was started deliberately. Footage shows blackened windows after dozens of firefighters extinguished the blaze on the 4th floor. Video has been released showing the damage caused by Typhoon Rai in parts of central and southern Philippines. At least 12 people have died and hundreds of thousands have been displaced. People have been clearing up and trying to rebuild their homes after Rai struck, which saw winds of 195 kilometers per hour. European Union leaders have warned Russia that action against Ukraine will result in massive consequences and a severe cost, amid worries over the build-up of Russian forces on the Ukrainian border.
We maintain our call on Russia to de-escalate tensions and refrain from any further aggression.
The message, which came after the last European Council summit of the year in Brussels, also mentioned possible restrictive measures against Russia. It's after several weeks of Russian troops moving to the Ukraine border. The Kremlin denies it plans to attack. Crowds in Chile have been taking to the streets and celebrating after the widow of the former dictator, Augusto Pinochet, died at the age of 99. Many people in the country see the moment as the end of a dynasty. Lucia Hiriart was seen as a philanthropist to some, but to others was reviled for her perceived influence on her husband. Meanwhile, campaigning for the Chilean election has just ended with rallies in Santiago. Chilean presidential candidates José Antonio Cast and the leftist Gabriel Boric wrapped up their campaigns ahead of Sunday's runoff vote. The candidates appear to be tied among likely voters, according to the latest polls. The United Nations says all sides in the conflict in the northern Ethiopia region are committing severe human rights violations. The body is calling for all sides to pull back from the year-long war. An estimated 5,000 to 7,000 people have been detained, including 9 UN staff. The latest arrests include 83 people this week. A further 1,500 people of Tigray and Gumuz ethnicity were reportedly detained last week in Osaka. 2 women have accused the Sex and the City actor Chris North of sexually assaulting them in 2004 and 2015. The women gave detailed accounts of the alleged assaults to The Hollywood Reporter, published using the pseudonyms Zoe and Lily. In a statement, Mr. North said the encounters were consensual and the accusations of assault are categorically false. And finally, Diego Maradona's fans will have a chance to snap up memorabilia, including his old football boots, in an auction on Sunday. Just over a year after his death, the sale will also include his iconic cigars, a pair of BMW cars, and a luxury villa he bought his parents. The auction is to raise funds for his family while legal questions over the player's assets are resolved. The Argentine star was widely regarded as one of the greatest soccer players of all time. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Remo Stars cruised to a convincing 2-0 win against host MFM FC in the 2021-22 season curtain raiser at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos today. The goals from Kudus Akoni and forward Andy Okpe gave newly promoted side all 3 points. Our winger Gumbote's team will be on top of the league table till Sunday, when 9 matches will be played to complete match day 1. Danish midfielder Christian Eriksen has left Serie A side Inter Milan Football Club with immediate effect after agreeing to terminate his contract. Eriksen has not played since suffering a cardiac arrest during Denmark's opening game in the European Championship against Finland in June and receiving life-saving treatment on the pitch. The 29-year-old is prohibited from playing in Italy with an implantable cardioverter defibrillator due to local health regulations, but he could continue his career in another country where the rules are different. Arsenal FC manager Mikel Arteta has called for the Premier League to offer more clarity on the games being postponed due to COVID-19. Arteta insists that transparency is essential to maintain fairness. While the Premier League has postponed 5 games that were scheduled for the weekend due to COVID-19 outbreaks at various clubs, but Arsenal's trip to Leeds United on Saturday will go ahead.
In terms of the competition, 2 things. One, that we need much more clarity why those games are getting not played and what do you need not to play a game. So we are playing in the same league because at the end the most important thing is that we are able to maintain within the context the fairness of the competition, and for me this is a big thing now.
Well, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp says it's too difficult to prepare for Sunday's Premier League game at Tottenham Hotspur, given the uncertainty around the opposition due to the COVID-19 outbreak in their squad. Liverpool take on a Spurs side who have not played in nearly 2 weeks after their league games at Brighton and Hove Albion and Leicester were postponed due to positive COVID-19 cases. Well, the German tactician reiterated that he's not against suspending the league due to the escalating crisis, but added that there's little benefit from such a move given the congested fixture list. That's sports news. I'm Ayo Tunde. Welcome back to you, John.
Akwa Ibom Christmas Carol Festival staging a return after a break occasioned by the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. This year's event, which is ongoing at the Ibom Hall grounds in Uyo, the state capital, has in attendance the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, as well as Sifanyu Ugwanye of Enugu State. Others are the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, and popular American televangelist Bishop T.D. Jakes. And the main news again. The Nigeria Labour Congress today held its last National Executive Council meeting for 2021 and asked the President to assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. It also called for the reversal of power sector privatization scheme. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Thanks for staying with us. But just before we go, we'll be returning to the Akwa Ibom Carol. That's to continue the broadcast of the Carol Festival only on our DSTV platform. And then Metrofile will follow after the Christmas Carol Festival. Do have a great weekend. Good night.